Welcome back to The Explainer, everyone. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today because we're unpacking a topic that is just fundamentally crucial to the financial survival of your loved ones, yet it is so often completely misunderstood. If you're someone who likes to be prepared, a focused learner who wants to make sure your family's future is totally secure, you are in the exact right place. Today, we're taking a hard look at the stark reality of estate planning, and we're going to dismantle the hidden dangers that catch so many well-intentioned people off guard. We're talking about a concept known as the probate trap, and more importantly, we're going to look at the precise strategies for securing immediate family liquidity. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive right into this quote. Passing away without a plan doesn't just leave your family heartbroken, it leaves them a massive legal and financial mess. You really have to let that sink in for a second. When we think about losing a loved one or even our own eventual passing, we naturally focus on the emotional toll, right? We think about the heartbreak. But what our source material urgently brings to light is that the emotional heartbreak is really only half the battle. Without a precise plan in place, that grief is immediately compounded by a chaotic, stressful, and highly bureaucratic legal and financial mess. Your family is suddenly forced to navigate this crazy maze of paperwork, lawyers, and courts, all while just trying to process their loss. So that brings us to Section 1, the unseen risk. 1 to 2 years. When an estate goes into probate court, the process doesn't resolve in a matter of days or even weeks. It is an excruciatingly slow, bureaucratic machine. Grieving families are routinely forced to wait 12 to 24 months, and honestly, sometimes even longer, just to navigate the mandatory legal hurdles. Imagine the agonizing reality of that kind of delay. For a year or two, the life you built, the assets you intended for your family's care, are just stuck in a state of legal limbo. A judge's docket is suddenly dictating the timeline, and it's entirely disconnected from your family's immediate real-world needs. Now, what's really devastating about this delay is the financial cost attached to it. Probate doesn't just steal time, it actively drains your family's wealth. The courts, the attorneys, the executor fees, the appraisal costs, they all take a cut, and they take a massive cut. Between 3 and 7% of the estate's gross value is typically lost to these fees. Let me emphasize a really critical word there, the gross value. This isn't a percentage of what's left over after debts and mortgages are paid. This is 3 to 7% of the entire top-line value of the estate, completely drained away before your family sees a single dime. So when we combine that massive timeline and that huge cost, we arrive at this heartbreaking reality. Families are effectively locked out of their own money while they are actively grieving. Think about it. The mortgage still needs to be paid. The utility bills don't just stop. Funeral expenses demand immediate attention. Groceries still need to be bought. Yet, the bank accounts, the investments, the life savings intended to cover those exact things are totally frozen by the court. Loved ones are entirely cut off from crucial funds right when they need the security of that money the absolute most. It literally forces families into a corner, sometimes making them take out loans or rack up credit card debt just to survive the waiting period. Which leads us straight into Section 2, the will myth. I want to pose a really direct question to you right now. Is a basic will enough to protect your family? I want you to actually think about your assumption here. Society has kind of trained us to believe that a will is the ultimate finish line of financial responsibility, right? We check the box, put the document in a drawer, and assume our family has this impenetrable shield around them. But based on our source material, the answer to this question is a definitive, resounding no. So the crucial point is this, and it's a real plot twist. A will actually guarantees probate. Let me say that again, because it completely flips conventional wisdom totally on its head. Having only a will forces your family straight into the exact 1 to 2 year, super expensive legal trap they so desperately want to avoid. Why? Because a will is simply a set of instructions written to a judge. It has zero authority on its own. For a will to actually be executed, a judge has to legally validate it, hear any objections, and oversee the distribution. By its very nature, a will is literally a one-way ticket into the probate court system. Let's look at how to fix this in Section 3, the BRC perspective. Let's move to how this all builds into what the experts call proper legacy structuring. This involves using specific financial vehicles, namely trusts and insurance payouts, to bypass the courts entirely. You see, unlike a will, a trust doesn't need a judge's permission to operate. When you set it up correctly, assets inside a trust transfer automatically and instantly to your beneficiaries upon your passing. The exact same goes for properly structured insurance payouts. They go directly to the named beneficiaries, completely sidestepping the probate docket. You are essentially building a private fast lane right over the legal swamp. And this brilliantly illustrates the night and day difference. On one side, you have probate court. It's public, it's delayed, and it's draining. Anyone can look up your family's finances. It carries that agonizing 1 to 2 year delay, and it acts as a massive 3 to 7% fee drain on your life's work. But on the other side, legacy structuring. It is entirely private. It provides immediate liquidity so your family can literally pay the bills the very next day. And because the court isn't involved at all, the full value of your estate is retained. It is absolute chaos versus total calm. All right, Section 4. Escape the probate trap. When you utilize proper legacy structuring with trusts and insurance, you are guaranteeing these 3 pillars of security. First, you're ensuring immediate liquidity for your family when they need it most. No frozen accounts, no scrambling for cash. Your family has access to funds on day 1. Second, it's a 100% private process. Your family's grief and their finances stay safely behind closed doors, right where they belong, totally away from the public record of a courthouse. And third, the full estate value is protected from fees. Every single dollar you worked so hard to save goes directly to the people you love, rather than padding the pockets of the legal system. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, deeply important question. Will you leave your family a lasting legacy or a massive legal mess? It really does come down to a binary choice, guys. Ignoring the problem or just relying on the myth of a basic will defaults your family into the mess. But taking proactive control, actually utilizing proper structuring, guarantees that your legacy is one of care, provision, and absolute peace of mind. If you want to make absolutely sure it's the former and not the latter, it is time to take action. According to the source material from BRC, the next step is simple and immediate. Protect your family from the probate trap. Click the link below and get into my next webinar. There we'll dive way deeper into the exact mechanics of setting up these trusts and structuring your assets so your family is truly secure. Thank you so much for joining me today, for learning with me, and for taking your family's future seriously. Stay focused, stay prepared, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.